Your dreams are bigger, bolder, and more badass than the life you're living now, but something just keeps getting in the way. Join certified coach and former therapist Diane Wingert for the Driven Woman podcast. She'll show you how to get rid of whatever is holding you back so you can stop spinning your wheels and up-level your life. Get ready to hop in and buckle up. This is the Driven Woman podcast, and we're heading for the fast lane.
Dear driven women and aspiring driven women, alas, here we are, episode 25, the end of season 1. Does that sound sufficiently somber for an ending? I'm just kidding. I can't stand that. I love endings. I love them just as much as I love beginnings. I don't think change is such a bad thing. And I don't think when things run their course, that means they failed or didn't work out. I'm choosing to end season 1 at episode 25. I could have done it at the end of the year or at any other arbitrary point, but I decided 25. That sounds good. You know, sometimes we just make such a big deal out of things for no good reason. But you know what is good? Getting a podcast review. And I'm going to keep on asking for them. And hopefully some of you are going to keep on giving them because they really do light me up and let me know I'm on the right track with the Driven Woman. Like this one from Raven71, who says, pure inspiration. This is a must podcast for your library. Diane encourages and aspires women of all ages to be driven to be their best selves. Her no-nonsense, bear most, if not all, approach allows women to accept and appreciate their authentic selves. Well, thank you, Raven71, for this week's pod praise. I really do appreciate it. Now, for this final episode, number 25 of the very first season of the Driven Woman podcast, I'm going to be talking about getting what you want. It's always been fascinating to me how many women have shared with me going after what they want isn't a problem. It's knowing what they want that is. So that's going to be what we will talk about today. And stay tuned because starting on episode 26, we are kicking off season 2 of the Driven Woman podcast. And there is so much in store for you. Guest interviews, Ask Diane Anything episodes, and live coaching from 5 lucky entrepreneurs. There will be a contest and you will be given all the details coming soon. So for now, without further ado, I bring you Getting What You Want. Unless you are a brand new listener to the Driven Woman podcast, you already know that I was a psychotherapist for many years before I became a coach. And during those years, I saw all kinds of suffering in my office, from the pain of losing a loved one to the lasting effects of trauma on an individual's ability to cope with stress and enjoy life. Later on, after I became a coach and started helping people reach their goals, I discovered something that truly surprised me, at least at first. People who are in pain know they are in pain, and all they want is for the pain to stop. They don't expect to go from depressed and hopeless to joyful and contented. Most of them would be happy to just hit neutral and not feel so god-awful. But the people who are already feeling pretty good, the ones whose lives are actually working and nothing is seriously wrong, those people often can't describe what they want or how things would look if their life was better. It's as though we know how to suffer, but when the suffering is relieved, we still have the sense that there's more. We just don't know what that looks like. what it feels like or how to get there. I've noticed that this is a particularly prominent problem in women at midlife and beyond. Now, I've given this phenomenon a great deal of thought because it seems to come up a lot. I wondered, is this a first world problem? Is this a problem of privilege? Or could it be that just when a woman is finally out from under the responsibilities related to raising a family, just when she has hit her stride professionally, just when her marriage or romantic partnership is either on autopilot or coming to an end and is either way no longer taking up as much of her time and attention, or just when her parents have passed on and she's now finding herself with more time, more energy, and more bandwidth than she can remember having for decades, she's faced with a decision. Now what? What am I going to do with the rest of my life now that I'm off the hook of so many people needing me? The more important and more difficult question to face at this point in life is, what do I want now? For most women, they've been so occupied and frankly preoccupied with what everyone else wanted of them that they never really had the opportunity to ask themselves what they wanted for themselves. And if no one else was asking, they didn't think to ask themselves. Well, it's one of my favorite subjects to bring up with a new client when they're 40 or beyond. Partly because I assumed that anyone who would hire a coach knew what they wanted and what they were looking for. They just needed the accountability to make sure they got there. Let's face it, most of us know what to do to reach a goal, whether it's losing weight or improving our financial situation. But the problem in many cases is that we don't know what we don't know. It's a matter of good intentions without follow-through in some cases, but what happens when we find ourselves at a point in life when we actually have the opportunity to think about ourselves, but have seemingly lost the awareness of how to do so? I personally think that most women are terrorized by the thought that someone would find them selfish. Our culture conditions us as women to be nice, kind, thoughtful, caring, nurturing, and to always put others first. The typical woman will let her husband eat the last piece of pie without resenting him, and will let the other car merge into her lane in front of her, as long as she doesn't have to slam on her brakes to make it happen. But what happens when you have been conforming to those norms for quite a few decades, and then you reach 40 or 50, and you just don't feel like deferring anymore? Does that necessarily make you selfish? I mean, when is it your turn to go first, to put your needs and priorities at the top of your own damn list? Do you need to wait for someone else to give you permission to do so? And if so, who has the right to give you that permission? No wonder so many women, when asked, "So, now that the kids are grown and flown, what are you going to do now?" stare blankly and say, "I have no idea." Now, maybe we're just out of practice, and knowing what we want is simply a matter of knowing who we are. And because we've been so busy worrying about and taking care of so many people for so long, we just haven't given the subject a whole lot of thought in a very long time. It's possible that we don't know what we want now because we've never known, because we've simply followed the herd and wanted what we thought we were supposed to want because it was what everyone else wanted. I mean, that many people can't be wrong, can they? But it's also possible that we don't know what we want because we've forgotten who we are. in the busyness of life. Or maybe because we've changed ever so slowly over time, but just haven't been paying attention to that reality, or maybe even denied it. We've all heard stories about women suddenly announcing that they realized in their 50s or 60s that they're gay and in love with another woman, or seemingly overnight realized they were actually meant to live in Costa Rica and the bags are packed, or that they've resigned from their high-powered corporate career because they bought an organic farm in Vermont. And these stories are really not that uncommon. And we're all riveted by them, aren't we? I think that's because it takes a lot of courage for a woman to risk being selfish, or even thought of as selfish, after many years of sacrificing her own desires and deferring to the needs of others. It's downright scary to risk criticism and outright rejection from the people we care about. But let's face it, in these days of social media, even the opinions of strangers might be enough to keep women, quote unquote, in their place. As for me, I think it's a whole lot scarier to grow old, never having known what it's like to be doing exactly what you want, for no other reason than you want to. Now, I still think I have a lot of growing up to do, even in my 6th decade. But one thing I know for sure is that I am determined to find out who I am and what I really want before I go, and to have the guts to create a life that's based on those and only those things. Hey, I hope you're enjoying listening to the Driven Woman podcast and looking forward to each new episode every Tuesday. Are you ready to take our relationship to the next level? Visit my website at dianewingertcoaching.com. I have a weekly blog. There's a quiz you can take to find out what your ADHD signature strength is, and some other freebies like the 6 Steps to ADHD Mastery or the Driven Woman Roadmap Fast Track to Success. And if you're ready to get serious about going from spinning to winning and taking yourself from driven but distracted to focused, fired up, and flame retardant, you should definitely sign up for a free consultation. We'll spend 30 minutes talking about where you are, where you want to be, and whatever's getting in the way. I won't try to sell you if you're not right for coaching, and I'm not the right one for you. But if you are, this might be the best way to make 2021 your best year ever. Want to hear from someone who's actually worked with me? Have a listen to my client, Rachel.
I didn't have you helping me along the way to understand a lot of this stuff, the meds would have been a waste for me, a complete and total waste. I would have had a little bit more energy maybe, but still the habits, whatever. There's no magic pill. It's always going to be something I'm going to have to work on. And I am understanding that and being okay with that and just kind of working through that and thinking and being intentional and stopping myself and doing all of the things for the first time in my life. I'm going to tell you right now, the meds have allowed me to slow stuff down enough that I've never been this effective at anything cognitive ever in my life. But I've also never had it explained to me by somebody who understands what's going on in my head either.
You've been listening to the Driven Woman podcast with Diane Wingert. Want more straight talk and strategy each week that will take you from spinning to winning? Don't forget to hit subscribe in your podcast player so you won't miss a single episode. Then head on over to the Driven Woman free and private Facebook group community. See you there.